Open rate tracking, AI insights for emails. Why open rate tracking feels broken, but still matters. If your team has ever said, "Our open rates look great, why isn't pipeline up?" You're not alone. Open rate tracking used to be a reliable proxy for attention, but in 2025, it's a noisier signal because privacy and security tools can register opens even when a human never reads the message. That doesn't mean the metric is dead, it means we have to use it differently. In B2B outbound, open rates are now best treated as a health check. Are we landing in inboxes? Are subject lines resonating? And are we targeting the right segment? When open rate trends move sharply, they're often your earliest clue that something changed in deliverability, list quality, or mailbox filtering. The goal isn't to win opens, it's to use open data to improve replies, meetings, and opportunities. This is especially relevant for teams running at scale through an outbound sales agency model, an SDR agency, or a sales outsourcing partner, where small optimizations compound fast. When we pair open rate tracking with AI and downstream metrics, we can extract real insight from the noise and turn better top-of-funnel performance into more conversations. What an open actually measures in 2025. Technically, open tracking is still based on a tracking pixel. When images load, the pixel fires, and your platform records an open event with metadata like timestamp, device, and sometimes IP. Years ago, that was a decent approximation of a person looked at our email, which made open rate useful for diagnosing inbox placement and testing subject lines. Today, the same mechanics exist, but the environment around them changed. Apple Mail privacy protection and similar features can pre-fetch images through proxy servers, which often triggers the pixel without genuine human attention. That's one reason global open rates climbed to 35.9% by 2024. Analysts widely attribute a meaningful portion of the increase to automatic opens rather than suddenly better email strategy. In parallel, corporate security scanners can open and sometimes even click in a sandbox before a message ever reaches a recipient. So we treat opens as directional, not gospel. If opens drop across a sequence, we investigate deliverability and list quality before rewriting copy. If opens hold steady but replies fall, we focus on offer, relevance, and CTA clarity. This mindset is critical whether you're building in-house or working with a cold email agency that's accountable for real pipeline, not vanity metrics. Benchmarks. What good looks like for cold email and B2B. Benchmarks are useful, but only if you interpret them in context. Across broad data sets, average B2B open rates are often reported around 36.7%, while B2C ranges roughly 20.8 to 23.4%. The gap is real, but it's also inflated by privacy-driven auto-opens. For outbound teams, it's more practical to compare apples to apples. Your opens by segment, persona, and mailbox provider, and then your replies and meetings against the same cuts. For sales development specifically, cold email-focused benchmarks paint a clearer baseline. One 2025 dataset reports 27.7% average opens and 5.1% replies across millions of B2B cold sends, while a deliverability benchmark puts B2B marketing email opens at 20.8% and cold email at 27.7%. That spread is exactly why we recommend benchmarking by motion, cold versus warm, and by channel owner, marketing nurture versus SDR outreach. When you evaluate good, use benchmarks to set expectations, not to declare victory. In our experience, top-performing sequences often look less like perfect opens and more like steady opens with improving replies and meetings as targeting tightens and messaging gets sharper. That's the standard we hold ourselves to as a B2B sales agency. Open rate informs decisions, but pipeline outcomes decide what scales. How to make open data actionable not just a dashboard number. Open insights are only useful when they change behavior. The first step is segmentation by mailbox provider. Gmail, Outlook, and Apple Mail behave differently, and Apple's privacy features can dramatically inflate opens. When you lump everything together, you risk learning the wrong lesson and overestimating performance in Apple-heavy segments. Next, connect engagement events to SDR workflows. If open and click events live only inside an ESP, reps can't act on early intent, and leadership can't diagnose sequence issues quickly. We recommend piping events into your CRM and sales engagement platform so you can flag sequences with failing opens, identify segments that suddenly spike in engagement, and prioritize follow-up based on a unified record. Finally, redesign reporting so opens sit next to the metrics that pay the bills. A clean SDR dashboard should show open rate, reply rate, and meetings booked by sequence and by segment over the last 60 to 90 days, so you can see whether an open win actually produced conversations. This is a practical foundation whether you're hiring internally, building an outsourced sales team, or coordinating with an SDR agency across multiple pods. Open rates aren't the scoreboard anymore. They're the early warning system that tells you where to look before revenue metrics start slipping. Let AI run subject line and send time learning. Subject lines still gatekeep the open, but humans guessing subject lines will lose to models trained on thousands of sends. AI systems can generate a large set of high-quality variants, test them across segments, and converge on winners faster than manual A/B tests that take weeks and rarely have enough volume to be conclusive. That's how you turn open rate tracking from interesting into a repeatable advantage. The lift is real. Some research cites AI personalized subject lines driving 41% higher opens, and other summaries report brands using AI subject line optimization seeing 32% higher open rates and 28% higher replies. The important part for B2B outbound is the downstream impact. Subject lines that earn the open but don't produce replies aren't winners, they're distractions. Operationally, we recommend using AI to propose subject lines and send time schedules at the sequence level, then locking in winners so the entire team benefits from what the data learns. This is especially effective in sales outsourcing environments where consistency matters. Every rep should inherit the best performing subject line patterns instead of reinventing copy in isolation. Scale personalization without sacrificing deliverability. The fastest path to better opens and replies is relevance, and AI makes relevance scalable. Studies on AI-driven personalization report about 29% higher open rates and 41% higher revenue per email, and other analyses suggest personalized emails are opened 82% more than generic sends. Even if your team only captures part of that lift, it's enough to materially change reply volume and meeting flow. But personalization only helps if you're actually hitting inboxes. A common mistake is blaming copy when the real problem is technical. Poor list hygiene, missing authentication, cold domains, or inconsistent sending patterns will suppress opens regardless of how clever the subject line is. Before you AI your way into better performance, verify lists, remove bounces, and ensure SPF, DKIM, DMARC are correct. Then let AI optimize on top of a healthy foundation. In practice, we see the best results when teams combine AI personalization with smaller, hyper-targeted tests. Instead of blasting thousands of contacts, test 50 to 200 prospects per segment, learn quickly, and then scale what works across the broader cadence. This approach fits teams running a cold email agency motion, a sales development agency pod structure, or a blended approach that includes LinkedIn outreach services and other touches. Common mistakes that inflate opens and deflate pipeline. The first mistake is chasing high open rates as the primary success metric. With privacy tools inflating opens and no guaranteed tie to revenue, you can end up celebrating improvement while reply rates and meetings stall. We anchor performance on replies, meetings, and pipeline created, and we use open rate trends as supporting diagnostics. Useful, but never the finish line. The second mistake is treating Apple-inflated opens as true engagement. If Apple Mail opens are counted the same as human opens, your scoring will over-prioritize the wrong accounts and keep dead contacts on lists longer than they deserve. The fix is to segment by provider, downweight suspicious opens, and lean harder on replies, clicks, and multi-touch engagement signals to keep your ICP and list quality tight. The third mistake is slow manual testing and disconnected data. One-off A/B tests every few months won't keep up, and leaving open data trapped in a marketing platform means SDRs can't act on it. Modern teams, whether in-house or partnered with cold calling companies and outbound specialists, build a loop where AI proposes improvements, the platform tests them continuously, and CRM reporting shows what actually drove meetings. A practical 30-day plan to improve opens and replies. Start by pulling 60 to 90 days of performance and establishing a clean baseline by sequence and segment, split by cold versus warm and by mailbox provider. This instantly reveals whether open rates are a deliverability problem, a targeting problem, or simply a measurement artifact. It also gives you a fair before snapshot to compare against any AI changes you roll out. Next, run a focused pilot. Choose one segment, for example, one persona in mid-market SaaS, and enable AI-assisted subject line generation and send time optimization while keeping a control group unchanged. Track opens, replies, and meetings booked side by side, and make sure the results are visible in the CRM so RevOps, SDR leadership, and AEs all reference the same truth. If your motion is multi-channel, coordinate email changes with complementary touches like cold calling services, so you're improving the whole cadence, not just one step. Finally, institutionalize what you learn. Winning subject line patterns should become sequence defaults. Personalization rules should be codified by segment, and suspicious opens should be filtered or downweighted so your scoring stays honest. Whether you're building internally, evaluating SalesHive reviews, or considering a long-term partner for outsourced SDR execution, the goal is the same. Open rate tracking becomes a reliable operating signal that helps you book more meetings, not just report prettier numbers.